opted to celebrate the Nuggets winning. I hope you had a great time. And even though I kind of threw something out there in jest on my personal page, you happen to find out if you were celebrating pretty hard, and you find out in the next couple of weeks that your family is growing. Maybe you're expecting a new little Murray or Jokic. Then by all means, reach out to me. Happy to help you try and find that bigger home that you're going to need as your family grows. Hope you had a good time at the parade regardless. So let's talk about what happened this week. We're going to start with the CPI report. I have a couple slides to share with you. So you can see that in the CPI report, month over month versus year over year, the headline number did come in a little bit higher at 0.1%. But year over year, we are now down to 4% from 4.9%. So we're the month over numbers are being kind of resilient and kind of sneaky and staying a little elevated, but overall our numbers are coming down. The core went up 0.4%, but it is still down 0.2% year over year. So our numbers year over year are coming down, but there's been a lot of focus on what month over month has been happening. And you can look at these numbers and what's been impactful in the scenarios. Used cars still impacting us up 4.4% month over month. And then motor vehicle insurance, cost of insurance is actually going up, and that's not surprising. That was up 2% month over month. So I do encourage you to check what your premium costs are on your insurance. But shelter, also still one of those things hanging in there. And this is my personal opinion, but I think people are so over have stayed at home for the past couple of years because of the pandemic. They're like, screw it, I'm traveling no matter what. Because you can see that in the lodging away numbers, that the number still continues to be elevated month over month. So people are like, I don't care what the costs are, I'm going on vacation. So we saw, the Memorial Day holiday. I kind of gauge traffic by what my commute is on 270 when I go to visit my parents each weekend. I can tell it's a holiday when I don't need to slow down on 270. Or I-25 for that matter. And now we have 4th of July coming up. Juneteenth is next week. Will people travel? We'll see. So those are the things impacting our CPI numbers, and the overall response in the market from the MBS market has been kind of delayed, and I'll show you that in the numbers. So let's also talk about PPI. Now, PPI is inflation for wholesale. And month over month, it was down 0.3%, and the expectation was 0.1%. So that's a really good move. And the core number was up 0.2%. But if we look at year over year numbers as it relates to wholesale inflation, the all-in number, headline number, dropped from 2.3% to 1.1% year over year, and the core number dropped from 3.2% to 2.8%. So again, inflation numbers are coming down as we compare them to year over year. They've just been really resilient on a month to month basis. So let's also talk about the jobless claims. Go back to some slides here for you. Let's see here. We'll go to the next one. Jobless claims continue. Initial jobless claims continue to inch up. Those little bars, each of those represent 10,000 increments of 10,000. So you can see since October of 2022, the number has continued to gradually go up. And I think it's been kind of a little sneaky booger because, people aren't seeing it. They're not seeing the movement go up aggressively. And I think that's what the expectation was. But, we've seen some dips and valleys, but we are increasing in those initial jobless claims. And then if you look at the continuing numbers, you can see that the continuing claims continue to go up. And we've seen a little bit of a reprieve here, but that could be in part because, one, the jobless, you can only file for claims for 6 months. If you go back to October 10th, October of last year, then those people can no longer file for unemployment. So, the question here, are people just not applying for new jobs? Are they really actually having problems finding new jobs? And are we seeing a little bit of drop up just because they can no longer file claims? But nonetheless, you can see the continuing jobless claims continue to go up. So just something to note there. All right. And then mortgage apps. I tell you this just because I like you to know what the activity as it relates to, who's out there applying for mortgages, what your competition is if you're in the market to look. Mortgage apps did go up 8% for purchases last week and 6% for refinances. And not very surprising because we did have some good movement in the market last week. And then if we look at the markets right now, just what I want to show you, 2 weeks ago, this is where things kind of fell apart. We lost ground. But last week we continued to see improvement. But this week, if you look at the couple of days that we've had a lot of fluctuation back and forth. In fact, the day started at 30 basis points below, and now we've moved up a little bit to 17 basis points. We're still below where we were yesterday, so we lost our gains from yesterday, but we are seeing the market continues to fluctuate back and forth this week. So it's been really interesting. Today, we've already had 2 reprices since the start of this morning. So it's been 4 hours and already we've seen a lot of fluctuation. So the rates are very volatile. If you are out there shopping and you're saying, hey, I want to know what the rates are today, just know that rate that I offered you at 9 o'clock in the morning may not be the same rate that I offer you at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So the rates really only matter about when you're under contract and ready to actually lock in an interest rate. You need to really know what the market is doing that day. There are other options to lock and shop where you can lock in an interest rate for a period of time and then shop for your home. But whether you go under contract right away, hard to say. So I'll show you one more slide just to bring this back to you. This is how we know the market's heating up. You can see that currently 33% of homes in Rising are sold over ask. So if you just watch, from where we were last year in April 2021, that's when the market was super hot. Everybody was writing prices way over list. Then we saw some reprieve, as we moved into the middle to end of last year. But since the start of this year, we are starting to see that pick up. So if you are one of those people waiting for interest rates to come down, or you think that the home values are going to come down, this is what's showing you that that's not going to happen. The demand will only go up if interest rates come down. More people will get back into the market. It will be more competitive for you to get a home if you continue to wait. So just wanted to throw that out there for you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Happy to answer your questions. And if you find the information helpful, please do like and share my videos. I do appreciate that. For those of you who are fathers and are celebrating Father's Day this weekend, I do hope that you have a great weekend. Who knows, maybe you will get a Nuggets championship shirt. Because back in the day when you were little, we all thought those were really cool presents. Otherwise, have a great weekend. I will see you next week.